Welcome to Kitchen Uncovered. I'm Chef Andrew Nicholson at the Culinary Institute of Canada. Today our guest chef is Colleen Neily, one of our graduates of the culinary program. Hello, Colleen.
Thank you very much.
And what have you been up to since you graduated culinary? What are you doing nowadays?
I work here at the Culinary Institute at the Lucy Maud Dining Room. I'm learning the other side of the industry. I'm learning the front of the house, getting to know the customers so that when I go back into the kitchen, I know how the front of the house works, how the back of the house works.
Good, good. And you're also taking the applied degree program.
I am taking the applied degree while I'm working here. Yeah.
And how's that working?
I absolutely love it. It's a great program.
So today we're going to do lobster.
Yes.
We're doing a couple of different of your favorite recipes.
Yes.
And what would those be? What are we doing?
Well, our first one we're going to start off with is a lobster bread pudding. It's nice and savory. Got some bacon, some lobster, green onions in it.
Okay.
Then we have a lobster risotto.
Right.
And then we also are going to finish off with a nice cheesy lobster dip.
Okay, looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to start with the lobster bread pudding.
Yes, we're going to start with the custard.
So to start that, we're going to make the custard.
So we're going to add the milk.
Okay, and we're just doing this in the mixing bowl because we're just mixing the cream and the
Yes.
eggs together to make a basic custard.
Nice.
We're not actually tempering.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
And then
So the milk and the cream. About how much
Yep.
milk did we use?
almost 2 cups.
2 cups.
And then we're just going to whisk the milk and make sure the milk and the cream is all nice together.
Okay.
And then we're going to add the eggs.
All right. And what percentage of cream did we use? We had the 36% whipping cream.
We did add the 36% whipping cream.
Okay.
And we're just going to make sure the eggs and the cream and everything gets all nice and mixed in together. We get a nice frothy custard.
Yeah, and we don't have to add any sugar to this because we're doing a savory.
Because it's savory, so we'll
savory
add
dish.
salt
It's
and
not a-
pepper instead.
Okay, perfect. And different flavorings and herbs and stuff. If we wanted to add fresh herbs to this recipe, you've got some things
Yeah,
specifically
well,
picked out. But
For lobster, I like to go with a dill, a fennel. Tarragon tastes great
okay,
with it. Some nice, really almost licoricey base herbs taste great with it. So we're all incorporated there.
so you want to make sure they're evenly mixed up.
It's pretty even.
Yeah. And then,
So now we will get rid of the whisk,
okay,
and we'll now use the spoon to mix the bread and the lobster, the cheese, the green onions, and the bacon.
Okay.
First, we'll season with salt and pepper.
okay. Get you some of
Thank
that.
you.
So not very much. We're just going to adjust a little bit of seasoning in it, just to.
Because the lobster was cooked in salted water,
Okay.
we don't need a whole lot of salt, but we
Right.
will use quite a bit of pepper.
And this recipe kind of uses up some of the extra lobster meat we have from our boiled
Exactly.
lobsters, right? So
Exactly.
how
So-
long would you cook your lobsters for this recipe?
12 minutes per pound.
Okay, so you want them fully cooked
Fully
and
cooked.
shucked,
Yeah.
and just kind of way to use up some extra meats that you have.
Exactly.
In
It's a
the
good way to use it. You know, if you couldn't finish that last lobster,
Mm-hmm.
you can use it for other things.
Okay.
So we'll add the bread. We want to make sure all the pieces of bread get a nice, good soakage. A nice custard.
Okay, so you want to make sure they're all soaked up fairly well.
Nice and
no
evenly,
dry
yeah.
pieces of bread.
You don't want any dry pieces.
Okay. So should this sit for a period of time?
You
or-
can let it sit, but the longer it sits, it kind of gets mushy,
Okay.
and you'll get more of like a bread paste than you will nice. You want to see the cubes of bread when it's
Okay.
done.
Okay, so you want to make it sure that it's mixed together and well soaked, but not soaked long enough that the bread becomes
Too mushy,
Too mushy.
exactly. So now
Okay.
we'll add the
the
lobster.
Okay, and then you got about a cup of lobster
It's a
there?
cup of lobster, yeah.
Okay.
You can use more if you'd like. If you're a big lobster lover, definitely. It all depends on
Mm-hmm. More
what you
lobster's
have
better?
left. Exactly. So we'll mix that all up together.
Okay.
Add some cheese.
Cheddar cheese or
Some
any
nice cheddar
specific
cheese.
cheese? If you had some.
Some sharp cheddar cheese or some nice 3-year-old cheddar is
Okay.
really good.
Okay. Could you use a Havarti or anything like that as well?
You
or-
could use honestly any cheese that you would like to use.
Okay.
If you're a Swiss fan or if you like the Havarti,
Yeah.
Borson
get the-
cheese, anything, just to get a nice cheese flavor in there.
Okay.
Or add the green onions.
Okay. Looking like a nice.
And
nice
then
mixture. And then bacon.
bacon.
Everybody loves bacon bits,
Everybody
right?
loves bacon bits. So
Okay.
we'll start off with that much.
Right. So this doesn't have to soak for any period of time, just as long as the bread and everything's blended together and the bread
Exactly.
gets a
We
chance
want
to.
to make sure everything gets like a nice coating of custard on it.
Okay.
And that looks pretty good there.
Okay, so well mixed together.
Well mixed together, and then we'll get the
We're
pan.
gonna put it in a pan, and the size of the pan is important for this. You want it like a loaf pan?
Exactly. You don't want a shallow pan. You want a nice, good height to it. You don't want a little small inch
Right.
of custard. You want a nice 2-3 inches of bread pudding.
Okay.
So what
Okay.
we'll do.
So do we have to grease the pan or anything? We're using Teflon, so we
No,
don't have
we're
to.
using Teflon, so you don't have to worry about greasing
Okay.
or anything.
Okay.
No parchment paper.
All right.
So we'll just kind of scoop everything in and get everything in there.
Okay. I'll hold that. You can.
Wonderful.
So just gonna scoop or pour that into the dish, and then we go to the oven. This gets baked in the oven.
Yes, it does.
Okay. And for how long? At what temperature?
It goes in at 350 for 45 minutes, or until you can touch the top and it springs back.
Spring. Okay.
Then you know the custard is really cooked and it's given that nice spring form.
Okay. Okay. And what else are we doing today with the lobster?
We're doing lobster risotto,
Risotto.
and then we're going to finish off with a nice,
Lobster dip,
creamy,
right?
cheesy lobster dip. Yeah.
Okay. So you want to make sure this is evenly distributed. You don't want to waste any of the.
No.
You want to put all the custard in there so you get that nice creamy.
And then I'm going
Mixture,
to
and
pass
then
me
you're
a
gonna-
spatula, and we'll just press it down and make sure
Okay.
there's not a lot of air bubbles in there. And we'll just
So you want to make sure that it's packed fairly tight. There's no.
exactly.
It's all evenly distributed in the pan.
Exactly. That way it'll cook evenly all the way through.
Okay. All right, and that goes into a 350 oven.
It does.
Okay. So
Up to you.
that back over there. So that's going to go to the oven.
That's going to go in the oven for 45 minutes.
Okay.
It'll come out a nice golden brown.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Okay, Colleen's going to throw that in the oven, and then we're going to come right back. We'll do some lobster risotto. Don't go away.
This portion of Kitchen Uncovered has been brought to you by the Culinary Institute of Canada. For more information on their programs, you can visit hollandcollege.com.
Welcome back to Kitchen Uncovered. I'm Chef Andrew Nicholson at the Culinary Institute of Canada. Today I'm here with special guest Colleen Neily, and today we're cooking with lobsters. So far we've got the lobster bread pudding in the oven,
It's baking right now.
baking right now in the nice evenly mixed savory custard.
Yeah.
Right, and then we have, and it's in a 350 oven for about 45
About
minutes.
45 minutes, or until it's kind of springing back when you touch the top.
And,
Nice
and the
golden
custards.
brown.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, good. And now we're going to make some risotto.
We are.
Okay, so what is risotto?
Risotto is more of a cooking style than it is the dish. It's the way of using, you use arborio rice here, which is a long, short, fat grain kind of thing.
Okay,
Yeah. And it's traditionally from Italy.
okay,
It's very,
Right.
very flavorful. We're going to use some nice chicken stock here right
Mm-hmm.
now, and then we're going to prep it up and show you how to make it.
okay. So we have the chicken stock on, and you could use any stock you wanted to.
You can use stock, or you
Right.
can use just water if you'd like,
Okay,
but with stock you get a little bit more flavor.
a little bit more flavor. And you could use vegetable stock or fish stock or.
Yeah, if you have
Chicken stock,
if you have
whatever.
the shells left over, you can boil those down and make your own lobster stock, and you
Okay.
can use that.
That would intensify
More-
the flavor a bit. That
exactly,
would be good.
you get some more lobster in there.
Yeah. So the biggest trick is to get the stock hot.
Yes, you need it hot. You can't add a cold liquid to a hot, and I'll show you that when I prepare
Okay.
the risotto.
All right. So we got the stock hot. So let's
All
get
right,
started. What
let's
do we
get
do next?
started. All right. So we're gonna add a little bit of oil.
Okay, so we need to warm up the pan a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll add the oil to it. We don't want it hot, right? We just want to.
No, you just want it a little warm, and then you're gonna add a little bit of butter with that too,
Okay,
and let that melt down.
and by adding the butter to the oil, what does that kind of do or help with?
One, it gives it really good flavor.
Mhm.
You get a little butter and a little oil,
Okay,
and it's also good for the smoking point.
okay, so you don't burn the butter quite as
So-
easily. It kind of acts as a
exactly.
little safety net.
Exactly.
Okay, it's a nice little trick.
So it's really melting.
And you don't want
there
intense
now.
heat. You just want some
Nope.
nice mild heat, and
You
a
don't,
little
you
bit
don't
of.
want to burn. You just want to saute a little bit. I'll add some onions,
Okay,
which we have here. You can use white onions. You can use red onions, or I like to use shallots or white onions.
Okay.
Get some nice flavor in there. So add some onions.
cool.
So we'll saute that up a bit, just until they get a little translucent, just a little soft.
Okay. So is the risotto something you could do ahead of time, or is this something you do last minute?
No, you can do it ahead of time, and then you can just cook it, let it cool, if you're gonna do it the night before, and then maybe before you have your dinner guests come over, take it out, warm it up in a pot and pan, maybe add a little bit more stock just to get it nice and wet
Just
and
to
everything.
loosen it up a little bit?
Yeah, exactly, and then just warm it up and serve it.
Okay. So we're sweating off the onions. We're not really looking for any
We're not looking for
colorization on
color,
them?
no. We're just looking for a little translucent and just a little soft. You don't
Okay.
want it cooked right down. Just want it a little softer than it is now,
Okay. So not raw.
not raw.
Okay, very good. And this is another good way of using up some leftover lobster meat,
Exactly,
or
this is
the
another
extra
way.
couple of lobsters that didn't get eaten the night before. You can use them up in this as
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
a follow-up the next day.
There's always a recipe for lobster.
Right.
So make sure that's all nice and soft.
Okay.
So you can see it's gotten much softer, and we're just gonna add the rice now.
Okay. So we just put the raw rice in with the
Yeah.
onions once they start to sweat off a little bit?
Yeah, and then you're just gonna mix that up. Kind of get the rice all coated in the butter and the oil mixture.
Okay. Now, if you were doing a dark, this is a nice white risotto, but if you were doing a dark risotto, you might caramelize the
Yeah.
onions a little bit to get some extra color.
Yeah, exactly.
And the arborio rice as well.
So that's nice and coated. You can kind of hear a little bit of crackling from the onions and the rice, and that's what you're kind of looking for.
Okay.
Then you know you're ready to move on to.
Just to bring everything up to temperature.
Yep, exactly. And then we're going to start adding some stock. So we'll add ladle by ladle.
Okay.
So we'll
Okay.
add
So,
some stock and bring it over
all right.
and mix that. It's a little high. We'll bring it back down just a little bit more.
Okay.
And we'll probably add another ladle there if you want to add a ladle.
Sure. So you just add a little bit at a time, just so that, and you give the rice a little bit of a chance just to absorb the stock as
Exactly.
needed.
You get more control over it.
Okay.
Risotto is one of those things that you want to make sure is perfect.
Okay.
A nice risotto is.
You don't want to rush it. It's supposed to be like a creamy texture
It's
when it's
supposed to be
done.
creamy, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we need a little bit more
I
stock
would say
in
add
there.
a little bit more stock.
So you just kind of keep adding it at regular intervals, just until it's. And then about how much stock would you add to how much rice? Is there a
Normally,
ratio?
if you're going with a cup of arborio rice, you would go 4 to 6 cups of stock.
Right.
So we'll give it a little taste.
'Kay.
See how much salt and pepper we need to add.
Okay. So a spoon for you.
Thank you.
Okay. So it's. Yeah.
Perfect.
Nice. Okay.
Great.
So how are we going to finish this off?
So what we're going to do, we're going to add just a little bit of butter,
Okay.
just to give it a little bit of
So regular
creaminess.
butter.
Just regular butter,
Okay.
about that much, just a cube. Going to mix that in.
And that's just to kind of add some extra
Just
flavor
a little
to
bit.
it.
Flavor and some shine. It gives
Okay.
a nice shine to the risotto. So wait till that gets nice and light.
So is this something you could overmix if you stirred it too much, or is this
Abs-
something you just got to keep moving at a kind of a constant?
You got to keep moving it just so it doesn't scorch the bottom.
Okay.
Just so your rice doesn't burn or it doesn't stick to the bottom. You need
Okay.
a good pan for that.
All right. And we need a little bit of salt and pepper.
Some salt and pepper.
All right.
And so the butter's all mixed in there.
Okay.
So we'll add a little bit of pepper.
You use white pepper, fresh pepper, black pepper.
Yep. I'm a big fan of black pepper.
Yeah.
Some fresh cracked black pepper, if you have it, is great.
Okay.
Then just some salt.
All right.
We'll give that a good mix.
Those here in case we need them. All right. And what point do we add the lobster?
We're going to add it right now, actually.
Okay.
We'll get the lobster warm up. Since it is cooked,
Yep.
we're just going to add it now so it doesn't need to actually cook anymore.
Okay.
We don't want to add it at the very beginning because you don't want to cook it too much. And
Get it that
just
rubberiness. We just
rubbery,
want to give it a
chewy
chance to get some
texture.
heat through it.
Exactly. So we'll add
Okay.
some lobster to it. Get that
that's great.
all mixed in. Nice chunks in there.
Okay. And the heat of the risotto is just going to warm up the
It's just gonna
lobster
warm it
a
up.
little bit.
Exactly.
And we've adjusted the seasoning and anything
So-
else to finish it? A little bit of green maybe?
A little bit of, yeah, we're going to have some fresh tarragon here.
Okay.
We'll add some in.
Just some chopped tarragon. And that's going to give it that anise kind of licorice kind
And
of
just
flavor.
a nice color too. Just some green in there.
Okay. Another spoon there to taste. And then I see you got some Parmesan cheese there.
I do have some nice fresh Parmesan cheese to give it a nice
Okay.
creamy texture. So, got this.
All right, so you got a microplane there. You're just
Yes,
going to
and
grate
I'm
in the
just
fresh
gonna-
Parmesan. That's kind of the authentic Italian touch, is the fresh Parmesan cheese
Yeah.
folded into the very last second, just to give it that cheesiness.
A cheesy, creamy texture. So we've got
Okay.
that, and we'll give that a good mix.
Stir that in, one last tasting, and then that's pretty much ready to go. Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
And I'll give you the honors of tasting it.
Okay, thanks. Mmm,
Good?
really nice. Yep.
Wonderful. So we'll set that there.
Okay, so that's ready to serve. Okay,
Yes, it's
if
ready-
you were
it's ready to
going
go.
to the table, that's the point at which you would serve it.
Exactly. It's ready to go. You put it right in the bowl and give it
Okay.
to your guests.
So just as a little sidetrack, we're gonna, if you had made the risotto and you had some left
Mm-hmm. had
over, we
some
don't want to
leftover.
waste anything.
Absolutely.
What would you do with it?
We can make some very nice lobster risotto cakes.
Okay.
So they'll be nice and creamy on the inside, and then we're going to pan sear them so they're crispy on the inside.
Okay, so what would we
Yeah.
need for that? Just some
So, yeah,
basic
we
breading
have
station?
A breading station here. So we
Okay.
have our eggs
Okay.
and our milk.
Yeah.
We're going to add our milk to our eggs,
Okay,
and we're going to whisk it.
all right. Quick whisk.
Wonderful. Thank you. Make sure that's all incorporated.
And we have some of because that's ready to serve, we have some risotto,
The leftover
lobster risotto that we made ahead of time.
Yep.
And so we're gonna formulate some cakes out of this to give you a pair of rubber gloves.
Thank you.
And what's the process for the breading station that we need for this?
It's a 3-step breading process.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to start with some flour, give it a nice little dusting.
Okay.
We're going to put it in the milk and egg wash, and then we're going to put it in some nice panko crust.
Okay,
And then we're going to make sure it's all shaped, and then we'll set it aside and we'll sear after.
okay,
Okay. If you want to start with the flour,
Okay.
and I'll do the egg and the bread,
all right. So we just take a little bit of the mixture.
I'll get my gloves on.
Okay. So this is the lobster risotto that's the day after. So it's got that cheese in it, so it's very binding. Right? And well seasoned. And just a quick little dusting.
Exactly. So since that's already seasoned, we don't need
Yeah.
to season our breading station at
Try
all.
not to break them up too much. And then just plunk that in there.
Yeah.
You'll take it from
And
there.
I'll take that. And you see
Okay.
it's nicely coated,
Yeah.
not too wet, and then we'll toss it into some breadcrumbs.
Packed nice and tight. All right. So we're gonna put together, bread these crab cakes a little bit, or the lobster risotto cakes.
Yep.
We're gonna do these up, and we'll be right back. And we're gonna pan fry them and plate them up.
Perfect.
Okay.
What does it take to make our children happier? How do we make them healthier, stronger, and more confident? We bring back play. At Participation, we say, dust off the bike helmets and revive hide and seek. Let's give them 60 minutes a day of the physical activity that kept us happy and healthy when we were kids. Let's bring back play. Participation. Let's get moving.
Welcome back to Kitchen Uncovered. I'm Chef Andrew Nicholson at the Culinary Institute of Canada. Today here with Colleen Neily. We just took the lobster bread pudding out of the oven, which looks awesome. We've got the lobster risotto, and then we did some lobster cakes.
Yes.
Okay, with the risotto that was left over from our dinner party. So now we're going to do a cream cheese mixture.
We are.
Okay. So what's next? We'll just move this to the side. And what do we need for that?
So we're going to take our bowl. We're going to take the cream cheese,
Okay.
add this into the bowl.
So just ordinary cream cheese.
Just plain cream cheese.
Light, doesn't matter, whichever one you prefer.
It's not a really good idea to go with light since you already got some lobster and some goat cheese and all the other cheese in there.
Okay.
I'd stick with the real stuff.
All right.
So we're going to add in our goat cheese.
Mm-hmm. And the goat cheese is going to add a little bit of
Just another flavor
dimension
component.
under the. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to mix that really
so lobster
well.
goat cheese, that'll be great.
So we'll mix that. Make sure that's all nicely mixed together.
Mm-hmm. You want
Yeah, let's use a different spoon.
to try that?
Here. I'll give you that.
Thanks.
Perfect.
So you just want to blend the two cheeses together fairly well.
Just enough, and just to get it soft too.
Okay.
Just get it workable.
Okay, so leave it out, let it get to room temperature.
Yeah, you don't want to take it right out of the fridge and start working with it because it's going to be too hard, unless you're using a mixer. Mixers make it a little easier. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add the toasted pine nuts,
Okay, so pine nuts.
and then we're going to add the chopped chives,
Okay.
and then we're just going to mix that up together.
So it's well incorporated.
Yeah, lots of different things you can
Okay.
do. So we're going to add some lobster.
Okay.
Give that a good mix.
So the lobster, the goat cheese, the cream cheese, chives, some toasted pine nuts.
Maybe we'll give it a little taste and see if it needs some more salt.
Okay. Give me a spoon.
Wonderful. I think a little bit of salt and
A
pepper.
little bit of salt and pepper would work. You can really taste the goat cheese blending with the lobster.
And the
Really
nice toasted pine nuts in there, give it a nice flavor.
Yep.
So a little bit of salt,
There's a little bit of crunch in that pine nut flavor.
a little bit of pepper,
Okay.
and give it a good mix. So all that is nicely incorporated.
Okay.
So now we're going to add just a little bit of tomatoes.
Oh, tomato?
Yeah, some
Okay.
fresh tomatoes. We didn't add it at the beginning because if you kept mixing it so much, it'd get mushy. The
Okay.
tomato would get
You want
soft.
to have it, leave it as the
Yeah, you want to
texture.
see the whole piece of the tomato.
Okay.
So that's all mixed in well.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get a spoon and we're going to put it into our little dishes.
Okay.
Thank you.
So oven-proof dishes?
They are oven-proof dishes.
Okay. So you
A
don't
nice
use any
ceramic
glass
dish.
bowls? Okay.
No, you want a ceramic one that's oven-proof.
Okay. And what's the purpose of putting it in the oven? We're just going to warm it up a
We're
little
going
bit?
to warm it up. It gives it a the nice lobster flavor, but with a little bit of warmth.
Okay.
Tastes really good. So
Okay.
I'll grab another spoon from you
All right.
so we can
We got lots.
get it into the bowl without making a mess of the dish.
I'm just going to put a little pat of butter in our risotto
Absolutely.
cakes. Butter always makes it better.
Absolutely. So we've got this one in there, nicely patted down.
Okay.
So we're going to take some of our white cheddar cheese, just sprinkle some on the top,
Okay.
and this will give it a nice cheesy crunch on top.
Okay. And you
And
just
it's
put
just-
that in the broil in the
In
oven
the
and broil
oven,
it for a minute?
absolutely, and just until it gets nicely golden brown, and I kind of see that little bit of crust forming.
Okay.
And we'll do another one. You can see it. This is the one thing.
You want the lobster in it, right?
Yes, absolutely. You want to see the lobster. You don't want just little pieces of lobster.
Right.
If you're going to eat it, you want a big chunk of lobster. We've got that.
Okay.
Put a little bit on that. And there we go.
Okay. So we just put those in the oven for just a few minutes?
Just a
to
few
brown off
minutes,
the
just to
cheese?
brown. Yep,
Okay. So we're going to start plating?
absolutely.
Okay. So I'll fire these in the oven
Perfect.
and give you a couple of plates. I'll take that.
Thank you. So we got our nice warm risotto cakes there. We'll start with the risotto cakes.
Okay.
Get our tongs here.
Yeah.
You can hear the crackling of the oil.
Okay. And this could be a starch on a dinner plate for your dinner the next night
Definitely if
type
you're
of thing.
having
You just
a-
fry it like that and
Yeah, if you're doing a seared halibut or a plank salmon, instead of doing potato or rice, use up the risotto you have, and you got
Okay.
lobster,
beautiful.
got everything.
Beautiful. Very
Yeah.
nice. Okay. What about the lobster bread pudding?
That one. Lobster bread pudding, we're going to slice it.
Okay.
so you can get your own piece.
Okay.
So slice it this way.
Slide it off the plate. Or? Okay, very nice.
There we are. It's a very delicate dish. You need a nice, sharp,
Sharp
serrated knife
Mm-hmm.
because it's still bread.
Right.
So you need to be able to slice through the
You
bread.
don't want to squish it.
No.
And you would serve this as itself as an appetizer or with
Yeah,
a salad?
you know, it's really great at brunch.
Okay.
You've
yeah.
got a bread pudding,
Mm-hmm.
got some lobster in there, you got some bacon, got eggs.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a good brunch.
Be a nice breakfast or.
And it's even good
Lunch thing?
if you want breakfast for dinner. And we'll cut this one and show you there's many different shapes that you can do.
Mm-hmm. Great.
And this is something that you can cook
Yeah.
ahead of time.
Mhm.
Maybe in the morning if you have dinner guests coming. Take it out of the oven, let it cool, cut it, and then put it on a baking sheet, put the pieces on, warm it up before your guests get there.
Okay.
Something you can do beforehand.
That looks great. We had some
Yeah.
cheese tips prepared. They're in the oven. I'm just going to go and get them.
All right,
okay?
I'll get rid of this.
And then we're going to. Oh, look at that, eh? Isn't
Perfect.
that great?
Cheese is nicely melted. Got some brown color on there.
Okay. So I'll give you a little plate up
Wonderful.
for presentation
Thank
in your
you.
lobster bread pudding. Looks great.
We've got the lobster bread pudding.
Beautiful little tastes there of lobster. PEI lobster, right?
PEI lobster.
We got some crostinis here.
Got those.
So
We're
this
gonna
is for
take-
the
Got the
cream
lobster
cheese
bread
dip.
pudding there.
right out of the oven. Lovely.
Get a little spoon.
Okay, and then people can just help themselves and just kind of
Exactly,
decorate it
yeah.
as they wish, right?
We'll take some
guests.
crostinis
Mm-hmm.
and just place them around.
Mm-hmm. For more than one person.
Of course. Yes.
Okay,
There
very
we
good.
go.
All right. And then all we have left is our lobster risotto.
Lobster risotto we've got going on here.
It really looks great, Colleen.
Let's hope it
Some
tastes
really,
good
some
too.
really nice flavors and a really good scents and smells going on.
Good. All right. So I'm going to get you to pass me a spoon.
Sure. Big one, little one.
That one's perfect, and I'll trade you and I'll give you this one.
Okay, thank you.
And we'll scoop this nice creamy
So this is nice.
risotto.
Creamy risotto, this would be the starch on the plate.
Yes.
And you would just do it fresh right out of the pan
Right out of the
on
pan.
the day of. Okay, very nice. Nice plates.
Yeah, and then we're just going to finish off. We've got some lobster roe.
Okay, so what
I'm
did we
just
do with the
gonna
lobster roe?
Sprinkle that over.
So you just saved the lobster roe out of the female lobsters as you were cleaning them and breaking them down?
Yep, and then I put them on a nice baking sheet,
Mhm.
put the oven on 350 and put them in.
And just dried out the roe
And
then
just dried it out a
just
little
kind of
bit.
crumpled up as a nice
And
garnish.
it just crumpled.
Okay, beautiful stuff.
There we go.
Thank you very much for sharing your recipes
Thanks
with us
for
today.
having me.
Thank you. For more information on today's show, and check out our website, kitchenuncovered.com. I'm Chef Andrew Nicholson at the Culinary Institute of Canada. Thanks for joining us.